Please press bell icon to subscribe to my channel Seema Gautam for more videos. Dear learners, this is the second part of a three-part series on our Indian transportation. In this module, you will study about railways, airways, their advantages and disadvantages in brief. In part 1, we have already discussed about transportation, its importance and one of the modes of transportation, that is roadways or highways. For part 1, link you can check description box or watch the video till the end. So here we'll start with railways. Rail transport is the most commonly used mode of long distance transportation in India, or we can say railways are the principal mode of transportation for freight and passengers. Rail operations throughout the country are run by the state-owned company, that is Indian Railways. A plan for railway system in India was first put forward in 1832, but no further steps were taken for more than a decade. A few years later, on 16th April 1853, the first passenger train between Bombay to Thane, covering a distance of 34 km in miles it is 21, was inaugurated, formally heralding the birth of railways in India. At present, it is the fourth largest and busiest rail network in the world after USA, Russia and China. Railways are yet another primary transport system within the country, connecting not only the major cities but also the n numbers of villages settled in almost every part of India. It has a much more extensive network locally and offer the citizens of the nations to travel and transfer goods and services from a city to a small town at a reasonable price. Principal modes of transportation for goods and passengers. It helps in tourism, business and pilgrimage over long distance. It helps in development of agriculture and industries. It is affected by the adverse weather conditions and physiographic factors. The Railway Board has classified the railway lines in India based on the importance of the route, the traffic carried and the maximum permissible speeds on the route. The complete classification is given below. We'll discuss with the broad gauge. The broad gauge is also known as a wide gauge or large line. Almost all major rail routes are broad gauge routes. The distance between rails is 1,676 meters. It handles 85% of the total goods traffic in terms of tons kilometer. Broad gauge railway line on the west coast is known as the Konkan railway line, which is an engineering feat. We'll move further and discuss about meter gauge. The distance between the two tracks is 1 meter. The meter gauge lines are made to reduce the cost. It is common in some regions with less traffic. All meter gauge lines except the Nilgiri Mountain Railway, which is the legacy run on a meter gauge in India, will be converted into broad gauge under project Unigauge. We'll move further and discuss now about the narrow gauge. The small railway gauge is known as the narrow gauge or a small line. The narrow gauge railway is the railway track in which the distance between two tracks is 2 feet. As I said, distance 2 feet, or you can say 0.762 and 0.610 meter. After the discussion about railway, its classification, now we will discuss the advantages of rail transport. It's well organized, has fixed routes and schedules, high speeds over long distance, good for bulky and heavy goods, safe, like safest form of transport, large capacity, increase by adding more carriages. If it's required, more carriages can add in this. Employment opportunities are also there, like skilled and unskilled. Both the people are getting job opportunities over here. Although railway transport has many advantages, it suffers from certain serious limitations. So we are going to discuss the disadvantages of rail transport. Railway transportation is considered particularly unsafe for the transportation of certain items that are either perishable or fragile. The Indian villages lack of proper rail system to date. The track are not built up properly in the villages. As a result, railway transport proves to be entirely unsuitable in these areas. Railways are pretty limited to their tracks and thus fail to provide any immediate door-to-door services. The cost of unloading or reloading at a particular stations also proved to be costly affair. For shorter distances, road transport is much feasible. The railways are costlier if the distance is less, and this is quite a disadvantage. Here we'll move further and discuss about the another modes of transportation, that is airways. Civil aviation in India, the world's third largest civil aviation market as of 2020, traces its origin back to 1911 when the first commercial civil aviation flight took off from Apollo ground in Allahabad, carrying mail across the Yamuna River to Naini. Airways are mode of transport in India that connects almost the whole country in a matter of time. Flights are the fastest mode of transportation, and airways in India has been successful project developed by the states. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation is a national regulatory body for the aviation industry and maintained by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, which also responsible for managing other organizations such as the Airports Authority of India, Bureau of Civil Aviation Security, and even the public sector's undertakings. There are around 132 classified in India, and some of the noted airlines are Indigo, SpiceJet, Air India, Go Air, Air Deccan, and Air Asia India, etc. are quite popular among the public. Along with these, some chartered airlines as well as cargo airlines such as Blue Dart Aviations and Quick Jet Airlines are also there, which headquarter is in South, have been developed in India. Pawan Limited of India. How can we miss out this when we are discussing about airways? Pawan Limited of India, the country's one and only government-owned helicopter service provider with the objectives of providing helicopters, incorporated on 15th October 1985 as a helicopter corporation that supports services to oil sector for its offshore exploration operations, services in remote areas, and charter services for the promotion of tourism. For to better picture, it provides helicopter services to oil and natural gas commission in its offshore operation, as I said just now, operate in inaccessible areas and difficult terrains like the northeastern states and the interior parts of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and Uttaranchal. There are Pawan offers helicopter services for many of the sectors like offshore operation, inter-island transportation, connecting inaccessible areas, heli pilgrimage tourism, customs and pipeline surveillances, casualty and rescue work, charter services, joyrides, VIP transportation, flower dropping, and others, and the last like customized services. Here we'll discuss about advantages of air transport. High speed air is a type of flight capable of traveling long distances in short period of time. Air transportation offer convenient, reliable, and fast services of transport. Send almost everywhere your flight in regions that are not readily accessible to the other modes of transport. Air transport is considered to be the only means of transport. High standard of protection with a low risk of robbery and injury, and aircraft can fly to any location without seeing any natural obstacles or barriers. Air exports in general entail less hard packaging than ocean shipments. This ensures you save both time and money by not having to provide extra packaging services. Although air-based transport has many advantages, it suffers from certain serious limitations. Climate conditions that are adverse, extreme weather will cause planes to be grounded and airports to close, halting shipments for several days and rendering the service ineffective. Air travel is the riskiest mode of transport since there can be considerable losses to goods, customers and crews as a result of a minor crash. Compared to other means of travel, the risk of collisions are higher. Air travel is considered to the most expensive means of transportation. That's why it gets beyond ordinary people's grasp. There is a whole variety of materials not suitable for such products, from explosive gases, batteries, fired solids and liquids, which cannot be shipped by air, to name but a few. The aircraft have no room and therefore are not ideal for carriage of voluminous and the cheaper material. As is seen for rails, the load volume can be raised. Air travel calls for enormous spending in airdrome building and servicing. It also calls for professional qualified staff that need a significant investment. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos about different types of transportation such as waterways, pipelines, as well as other historical and geographical topics. Please share and comment since you like. Take care. Bye.